Hello all. Today we're going to talk about the HB5 Math Rules under the Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 7412B2. Now what that looks like is, right here, we're going into 7412B, and we come down to number 2, Mathematics. It says that in math, 3 credits are required, and those credits are going to consist of Algebra 1 and Geometry and the additional credit. Now, let's also talk about the Texas Education Code for a minute, and that's going to be Chapter 28 of the Texas Education Code. The Texas Education Code 28025.025. We're going to go down to B1 and we're going to look at number 2. And that's going to be 3 credits in math under subsection 2802, and including credits in Algebra 1 and Geometry, and 1 credit in an advanced math course taken and authorized under section B2. Now if we come down to B2, it'll simply say for an advanced math course under section B1 or 2, and for any advanced science. And once again, it allows for you to look at where that's at in the Texas Education Code. Let's go back over to our administrator. So we're operating out of 7412, and it says 3 credits in math must consist of Algebra 1 and Geometry. And the additional credit may be slated from 1 full credit or a combination of 2 half credits from 2 different courses subject to prerequisite requirements from the following courses, or a credit selected from the courses listed in subparagraph B. So what that would look like is you could have a student do Algebra 1, then Algebra 2 and Geometry. As there's no order of operation any longer defined in the Texas Education Code, we can do Algebra 1 Geometry or Algebra 1, Algebra 2 Geometry. If you have a student that does Algebra 1 in 8th grade, they can do Algebra 2 or Geometry in 9th grade. They're still going to need a total of 3 math credits to graduate on the Foundation's high school graduation plan, or 4 math credits to graduate on the Foundation's high school graduation plan with endorsement. But let's talk about the basics. So we have 3. We're going to make sure we have Algebra 1 and Geometry. The additional may be taken from math models, math applications, ag, food, natural resources, digital electronics. There's a list of 9 different math classes here. Some of these are CTE. Math models is not. Math applications in agriculture, food, natural resources. I have advised some districts that's a good replacement, depending on what your processes are and student interests, as it is 85% algebra and 15% geometry when you dig into the TEKS. And it also draws you a little bit of extra funding for CTE. We do have a funding section if you want to learn about that. The financial math class, if you look at the TEKS, is a phenomenal math class. The TEKS for the financial mathematics class are held in Texas Administrative Code 130.180. It states that this the course is recommended for students in grades 10 through 12. There is a prerequisite of Algebra 1, and that the course satisfies high school mathematics graduation requirements. Now that doesn't mean that it satisfies the requirements to earn an endorsement. It does satisfy the basic requirement for graduation without endorsement. If you have any questions about that, I'm going to explain that here in a second. But remember, you got the Algebra 1 and all in. I want to use this as an example. Anytime you want to see what a prerequisite for a course is, find the TEKS. It'll be housed in the TEKS. The fastest way to find the TEKS is to come out to the A to Z indicator on the TEA website. They have an A to Z. And then you can look it up by letter appropriate, T, and then you just go to the TEKS. So back over here to chapter 89, to chapter 74. You gotta have 3 credits in math. These are the basic. I want y'all to think of all these math classes right here as equivalent level-wise to math models. And then we get into our higher level math classes. Algebra 1 being Algebra 2, being the course needed by all students if they're going to become distinguished level of achievement. So if you have a student who does Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, in that fashion, and it doesn't matter if they do Algebra 1 in 8th grade and Algebra 2 in 9th grade and followed by Geometry in 10th grade, if they take one of these classes, they're good to go, because this would be considered their final class. It doesn't have to be taken in the sequence. It just has to be taken. And then there's a plethora of other classes to include engineering, math, statistics for business decision making, and mathematical professionals. These 3 are CTE math classes that do require Algebra 2 as a prerequisite. These classes right here, Roman numeral 5 and Roman numeral 7, Roman numeral 6 and Roman numeral 7 are classes that can be taken without Algebra 2 as a prerequisite and still allow a student to earn an endorsement, but not earn distinguished level of achievement. Let's jump down to the endorsement maths real quick. So the requirements for 7413E2 is the 4th math. It starts with Algebra 2. it does list algebraic reasoning and statistics for classes that can be used to earn an endorsement. But remember, if you use these two classes and you don't use Algebra 2 or get a student Algebra 2 credit, they may not be distinguished level of achievement. They cannot be. Now let's talk about 7413E. As far as if you have students taking any of these math classes, including Algebra 2, and they're modified, they could still earn an endorsement as long as these math classes aren't part of the package housed under the endorsements. And I want to show you where that's written in the law. And where that's held is Chapter 891070. And we're going to go to C. A student receiving special ed services may earn an endorsement under 7413 of this title if the student satisfactorily completes the foundation 7412, the additional credits in math, science, and elective courses for 7413E being the key, with or without modification or modified curriculum. So yes, they can take modified math classes and still graduate with an endorsement. A prime example would be if a student did that and took band 1 through 4 that was not modified. If you have any questions regarding anything that was discussed today, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself, Travis Waddell, or to Sandy Benavidez. We would gladly help you with any questions or concerns you have regarding House Bill 5 Foundations Graduation Mathematics.